Hey, this is Stephen Platinum, your friend in wrestling with Platinum versus NXT from May 18th, 2021. What can I say? NXT is on an absolute roll. I thought the main event was a delight. I thought the opening match was a delight. They get right to the action. They're actually taking the Grimes and Ted DiBiase stuff somewhere palpable. And just a number of great things happened on the show. Now, the middle got a little muddled to me, and we didn't see all of the usual suspects, but I think that's good. I don't know why NXT just feels like a fuller and more complete show than SmackDown and Raw, but it most certainly does. And it even packs a good emotional punch. But let's just jump into it, right? So we got Beth Phoenix, we got Wade Barrett, right? The usual suspects. Toni Storm against Zoe Stark is a fantastic match. Really great opener. One of the best that they've had. At the end of it, Storm falls with Storm Zero, but Stark kicks out just in time. But Storm picks her up, hits her with this kind of spinning driver, and then holds the pin to win. So Toni Storm wins. Just really good stuff. We got a replay of that new finisher. The lights go out and they come back up. Frankie Monet is making her entrance with her Pomeranian. Storm seethes, right? Monet shows off and poses on the stage. She's going to make her in-ring debut next week. Mackenzie Mitchell's backstage with Raul Mendoza and Joaquin Wilde. Asks where Santos Escobar is, but they tell her don't worry. They want to talk about when they're going to get a title shot at the NXT Tag Champions MSK. Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher interrupt, and the two teams have words over who deserves a title shot. This sets up a match for later tonight. Makes sense to me. It is a little bit of using one half of the show to promote the other half, but NXT does so infrequently now that you can allow one or two. Right? Cameron Grimes arrives, throws key to Jake Atlas and says, "Parks my car," but says only Ted DiBiase is the one with the parking spot up front, and everybody laughs, and Grimes is mad, and Grimes says he wants to fight Atlas later on, tosses a few dollars. So another setting up the second half of the show with the first half of the show stuff. Hopefully we don't have another, right? The NXT Women's Tag Champions, Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae, are at the spa getting massages and facials. And they say what a loser Dexter Lumis is, but Lumis is the one massaging Indy. So Lumis stops massaging her and walks off. Oh, that's sad. We're going to get next week's title match. We get a little preview of it between Finn Balor and the champion Karrion Kross. Good stuff here. We also have comments from former UFC commentator Jimmy Smith, who's now billed as an NXT analyst. Interesting. Pat McAfee and Paul Heyman. So a cool little package there to promote the match for next week. Jake Atlas against Cameron Grimes. We get into it. Long story short, the $1 Million Man's music plays, distracts Grimes, and he gets rolled up. And then Ted does a signature laugh as the music keeps playing. Grimes is, of course, furious. Ted walks to the back. Atlas kicks Grimes off the apron. Grimes goes backstage to try to find Ted DiBiase. He approaches the limousine, can't open the door, but then the window rolls down. Not bad, kid, but you're still no $1 Million Man. The driver takes off. He starts laughing again. Grimes throws a fit. Cool. Bronson Reed talks about his journey to tonight's steel cage main event. 14 years he's been wrestling to the day. We go to sports journalist Arash Markazi for a sit-down interview with Pete Dunne. Dunne talks about all these possibilities of matchups that he could have and covers everything, basically, including NXT UK. Talks about how he came up with his physical style, being influenced by Fit Finlay. Says he tries to make it even more violent than that, though. Asks about setting goals and where he sees himself in a year and 5 years. But he says at this point in his career, it's time to win the NXT title. Good solid stuff here. Alexander Wolf against Killian Dane. Wolf hasn't wrestled in a while. And it's a little bit of a surprise when Killian Dane hits that cross body for the pin and gets a pretty quick win here. I'm interested in why they chose to go that way. Dane and Drake head to the back together. Imperium poses together in the middle of the ring. There's some tension. Wolf acts like he doesn't need their help getting up and standing back up straight. And then Barthel and Eichner suddenly attack Wolf and beat him down. They hit the double team Imperium bomb and leave him laying in the middle of the ring. Wow. Fans boo him. Still to come, we're going to have Legado del Fantasma against Thatcher and Ciampa. Back to commercial. Mackenzie's backstage talking with Dakota Kai and NXT Women's Champ Raquel Gonzalez. They're a clique, right? She asks about last week's post-show segment in the training room with Mercedes Martinez having a show of respect with Gonzalez. Kai said they saw the comments, so Mackenzie should stop trying to stir things up. Raquel says correctly that she beat Mercedes like she said they would. And they said... Kai says they're going to be going for the NXT Women's Tag titles again. Everrise interrupts, and they plug their Saturday social media show, Everrise Live. They joke around with Gonzalez, and she slaps Matt Martel in the face, knocking him down, and they walk off laughing as Chase Parker helps him up. They just can't get no respect that Everrise. Legado del Fantasma against Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher. Really fantastic match here. It's worth going and checking out. The bloody mouth really added to it. At the end of it, though, I'm getting kind of tired of this finish that NXT's adapting from Raw and SmackDown, which is the distraction interference finish. Now they've done it twice in this show. Grizzled young veterans show up. They double team Ciampa and slam him into the edge of the apron. Meanwhile, Wilde and Mendoza follow up with a double team to Ciampa, and Mendoza covers for the pin. After the match, Wilde and Mendoza celebrate and make their exits as Ciampa and Thatcher recover. Mackenzie's backstage with Bobby Fish. She starts to say, oh, you helped out Kyle O'Reilly, but Fish makes it clear it had little to do with Kyle O'Reilly and everything to do with Pete Dunne and Ocoee, right? Because they put him on the shelf at War Games with the tricep injury. Fish says he's back now and there's a debt to be paid, and he's going to start with Dunne. He cuts a promo on Dunne, basically challenges him to show up next week so Fish can finish their unfinished business. Good deal. Now we're promoting next week's show. It's good. Much better. Back from the break, we see Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae finishing up their spa day. There's kind of a complicated thing about the credit card being declined, and through it, Indy figures out that it means he still loves me, meaning Dexter Lumis, but she doesn't know that this is like rom-com shit, right? Ridiculous. Indy runs away yelling about how Dexter loves her. Candice looks shocked and confused at Indy's way of thinking. Gargano and Austin Theory are backstage cutting a promo on Bronson Reed to hype tonight's main event. We get Alia who's with Jesse and Robert Stone of the Robert Stone brand. Out comes Saray. Good little match. It's not that long because they're running out of time for this main event. They really need to give it more time. So Saray wins with a big suplex. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. We get a video message from Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart, who send warnings to the NXT Women's Tag Champions, The Way, and to the team of Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, who said they want to challenge for the NXT Women's titles. Good stuff here. We see Hit Row Records walking backstage, and we go to commercial. I always allow you one of those walking backstage things going in a commercial, and this is the one they get. We see that vignette for the Diamond Mine. Is that... going to be Tessa Blanchard? Probably. We shall see. Now we get to see Hit Row. We get to see Ashanti and Top Dollar against Tony Nese and Aria Daivari, right? A good outing for Hit Row. They look really strong here. They look good. They pose together. They celebrate after their win. Good stuff. Swerve says he doesn't care who wins tonight's main event, but he'll have his eye on the NXT North American Champion after it's all over. Good stuff. Mackenzie's backstage with William Regal, who we haven't seen a lot tonight, which I think is good, that we haven't seen him a ton. He names Legado del Fantasma as the new #1 contenders, and he says they're going to challenge the NXT Tag Champions MSK in 2 weeks. So now we're setting up stuff 2 weeks from now, which is great. He says there's a lot of opportunity in NXT right now, and they have the greatest women's division in the world. Really awesome. He wants to see who's going to step up here, and he wants to see who's going to step up to the NXT Cruiserweight Champion Kushida and others in that division, and he's going to keep an eye on the various divisions. He also announces Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart versus Dakota Kai and NXT Women's Champion Raquel Gonzalez for next week. Next week's show looks awesome. We see the main event participants walking backstage, and we see the steel cage being lowered. Awesome stuff. Back from the break, get a quick promo for Frankie Monet's World in-ring premiere next week, and there's going to be $1 million face-off next week between Ted DiBiase and Cameron Grimes. So it feels like we have that whole show booked up, which is great. Get a steel cage match for Bronson Reed and Johnny Gargano. I really enjoyed this. I think it's one of the best cage matches I've seen recently between two competitors. And Bronson Reed won in this kind of cool way, and he was very emotional as they went off the air, and I just thought it was very effective. NXT is on fire. Unfortunately, less and less people seem to be watching it, which I hope does not deter them from doing what they're doing, because it's very good.